They say opposites attract.
Well, how about these opposites? Daddies and sons.
You're listening to Daddy and Son.
A podcast where we explore the dynamics of daddy and son relationships, multi-generational views,
and everything else in between.
Welcome back, ladies and gents.
Twinks and other.
And beers.
Okay. Boomers and Zers.
To this our humble show we call Daddy and Son. And again, yes, if you are new to this show, yes, it is a podcast. And a podcast is a form of show where I have weekly conversations where I catch up with my daddy. How have you been, Daddy? How was your week?
Daddy Norm is fine. How is son Alex? You forgot to identify who you are. We got to say, we got to tell our fans at the other end who we are, right?
Oh, you know what? You're absolutely right. Because there may be folks who
Are new.
don't know who I am. That is actually very true. So my name is Alex.
And I'm Norm. And we started this podcast 2 years ago. The idea over dinner one night. And bingo, here we are, still doing it.
In a crazy way. But yes, how was your week?
It was good. I don't remember much of it, but I'm glad it's over.
Should we be worried for you that you're not remembering your week?
Oh, listen, honey, I don't remember if I took my pills in the morning sometimes.
Nurse? Nurse.
No, seriously, I go to make my coffee and did I have my pill? Did I? Yeah, I did. Yeah, I did. You know, I kind of have to remind myself. It does happen as you get older. I mean, your memory does go. Son, you're going to find that out.
No, my memory's already going. Trust me.
Okay, well, there we go.
I'm the type of person where I'm so stressed out by work.
You have a lot on the go.
That I'll literally be the type of person where I'll be like, what was I supposed to do from the meeting again? And I have to go back to my Gemini meeting notes. And that's one thing that I say to people. I don't know how me today with my
volume of things on the go.
With my 31-year-old brain, how I did the things that I did when I was 13 in school, 16 subjects at a time, just going and going and going. It's crazy.
Wait till you're 71. You'll think the same thing about 31. So what are we drinking today? I have had a sip of it, and it's very refreshing.
It is, isn't it? So this is called a French 34. Think of the classic Cosmopolitan, Sex in the City, very light, very fall, but also not ready to give up on summer just yet. Has that slight tang, the zip of citrus, that's the fresh lemon juice that you're getting, the cranberry that's giving you those fall flavors.
Yes.
Also, instead of vodka, you are using gin. And the gin of our choice is always Bombay Sapphire.
Yes.
Rich, crisp, one of the best in the world, arguably. Shout out to Bombay Sapphire.
Well, this is shout out to you for being a 5-star bartender. Reminds me of a cocktail I had in Dubai many years ago.
Oh, yeah?
Looking atop the Marriott, eating dinner outside. I thought it was neat because it was February back in Canada. And of course, you can't eat outside in Canada in February. But very nice drink. Thank you.
I had no idea that you had ever even been to Dubai.
Not only have I been to Dubai, but I participated in a conference where I presented for about an hour in front of 2 of the royal family.
Really?
It was a big conference on food safety or something.
Interesting.
That's when I flew British Airways business class.
I had no idea. You never told me this. When was this?
Almost 20 years ago.
Oh, I see.
Literally.
I didn't even know Dubai existed 20 years ago. I thought it was a new country.
You know what? It's funny you mention that. It had just been coming on the map in the last few years. 60 Minutes had done something about it a year or so before. But I concluded, kind of neat city, but There are a lot of veneer. I mean, if you want a nice weather, go to Florida, for crying out loud. I mean, it's 12 hours closer on an airplane.
I'm good. I've been to Dubai once and I've been to Abu Dhabi once,
Oh.
and I don't think I'd return again. It was
Thank you.
It's nice to
Nice.
see for a one-off,
Yeah.
but it's not the type of place that you want to stay in for too long. Especially since they gave me a SIM card and said to use the SIM card, and reminded me
Oh.
at the airport and at the tech conference that I went to that VPN is illegal in the country, and I need VPN for work. So even when I'm in Canada, so I was just like, okay, yeah, I can't work for the next 5 days. And it was something.
There are a lot of things that are illegal in Dubai.
And God bless you if you can find a drink.
Oh, Dubai's not too hard to find a drink.
Well, in Abu Dhabi, it is.
Oh, okay. No, Dubai was easy.
Unless you're in your hotel
Oh,
or at the airport, it's much harder to find a drink. And
really?
yes, it is much harder to find a drink, and they're very expensive. I spent what was equivalent of £50
For a drink?
for a double gin and tonic.
Holy Hannah.
I know.
That would buy us a case of what I just bought at the liquor store for our drinks tonight.
I know.
Which
Cheers to
cheers,
that.
Cheers to that.
Cheers
You'll
to
hear
that.
the click. Is this real Rydell or is this imitation? Sorry, I think it's imitation. It didn't clink enough. Anyway, it's okay.
No, that's.
I'll bring mine next week.
I don't know what that is. Only my wine glasses are Riddell.
Okay, fair enough.
Yes.
Yes, okay. That's
The
right.
wine glasses.
We heard the clink last week when we had wine, didn't
Yes.
we? Yes, we did. Okay. Well, when we downgrade the glasses, we upgrade the drinks, don't we?
I'm with you. So this week, ladies and gents, is a Norm production.
Well, thank you. Thank you. Now, I know I'll probably do about a few minutes of talking, but we need to have lots of participation on this discussion because I want to talk about climate change. And I said to you before we started, climate change has never been something I was real super interested in.
Excuse me?
I just,
Are you okay?
but you know what? I know it's
Is
happening.
feeling ill, ladies and gents.
Why are we doing climate change? Well, first of all, we're taping this in mid-November, and the COP30 conference is on in Brazil. It's all over the news. It's big stuff. Now,
Yeah.
these, the first one in Paris, 25, 30 years ago? That was huge
Now,
news.
for the kids who are listening who maybe have never heard of this conference before, explain to them what this conference is.
Well, it is a series of meetings it's called, COP stands for the 30th session of the Conference of the Parties to the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change. So this is a big international event. Every country in the world literally is participating, although notably Mr. Trump decided not to participate this year because he's pissed off with Brazil for some reason. I think it's
No,
kinda-
we all. It's
he's pissed off with a lot of
a combination
countries.
of reasons. His
Yeah.
friend is in prison
Yeah.
for trying to overthrow an election, similar to what he did in the States, and Brazil said, "Not today, Satan." So yeah, he's in his, feelings.
You're right. Thank you for that. Well, okay, so for reasons totally unrelated to the subject, but so the world is gathering. They're talking about what can we do to further the objectives of reaching net zero, sustainability, less carbon in the atmosphere, all good stuff. And there's kind of two streams. There's one stream that talks about here are the things we're going to negotiate and eventually agree to. And then there's sort of another stream where you get together and you talk and you network and you share information and you're not making any country commitments or anything. So it's a big deal. We send delegates down there. We spend a lot of money sending people. Industry people go. Governments. We've probably got, I would bet you the feds have sent 50 people to this conference from Canada. I don't know for sure, but they budget a whole lot. So climate change is a thing, it's an issue, but it's not as big an issue with the public as it used to be. So I did a little research, and a couple of things have changed. So what I'm looking for in this discussion is, what do you think about the things that people are saying? One of the things they're saying is, 25 years ago, 20 years ago, 10 years ago, people felt, wow, we got to do something. Now that things aren't quite as good economically, the public is a little less convinced of two things. One, I don't think, they still think humans contribute to it, but they're not as convinced as they used to be.
Now, who are these people?
Surveys. Who are these people? Good. Hopefully randomly selected people and various different agencies. Gallup does some, Ecos does some, Ipsos. And there's a trend in the public mind, not just in Canada, but across the world, that I can't say that it's humans are less, there is a perception that humans don't contribute to climate change as much as people used to feel. But the real big change, and Bill Gates is starting to reflect this, is that, yeah, climate change is important, but it's not going to end our lives. And we got other more important things like economics and poverty and stuff like that to take care of. And we're spending maybe too much money fighting climate change when we've got more important priorities at home. So that's the change that's going on in the public mindset. Meanwhile, you still have forest fires, you still have floods, you still have huge rainstorms like we have here in Toronto once in a while that mess everything up for 5 or 6 days. I mean, people are still aware of it, but they're not convinced it's like the big deal it used to be. So I'm glad of that personally, because I think we were way overboard with climate change. I think net zero is, it's an illusion. We're never going to get to totally net zero. But I think it's good that we kind of head that way. You're doing your part. You've bought an electric vehicle. I do my part. I separate my trash. And one thing I don't do is I never pay the carbon price premium on my airplane ticket when I get asked to before I hit click to purchase my ticket. Do you know when you buy an airplane ticket? I what is it? The offset, the carbon offset. And I think, who does that money go to?
They do that for concerts too, actually. It's not
really?
just for, it's a lot of different things. They do it for concerts as well.
Who does that money go to?
It's all a sham, actually. I believe it's all a sham.
Okay.
Because they say that they donate this money, as an example, with Air Canada, they say that they donate this money to the building of trees in certain areas. But if you follow the money trail, and there's actually been an expose on this, the trees, they never get built. They never get planted. They never get planted. It's all just a form of corporate welfare.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting because in the budget that was last week, which hopefully, well, I wouldn't say hopefully, I'd love to see the budget get defeated here in Ottawa. We'll have to have an election, but that isn't going to happen. But one of the things that was in the budget, and it will likely pass, is the government has backed away from the $1 million trees to be planted by whatever date, 2030. That was a Trudeau initiative of a few years ago. It wasn't really realistic. I remember talking to somebody that was in the forestry industry a year or two ago about this and said, they have no idea how much. You can't just go and plant 1 million trees. There's all kinds of different soils, there's different types of trees. Where do you get the people to do it? Like, there's all these kind of great sounding idea. But trees are important for sustainability, for the air circulation, for cleaning up pollution. But that's an example of where government just went, wait a minute, we don't need to spend the money doing that. Let's use it for something else. Anyway, so the other thing that caught my attention on this was...
Can I just jump in?
Yeah, please do, because...
Let me just jump in real quick.
I haven't talked about Bill Gates yet, so we'll get to that too.
I think... Let's start with the government and the trees bit.
Yeah. By the way, I see you as a pro-climate change person.
Well...
I'm surprised you're kind of... we're not that far apart, I think, on this.
Well, here's the thing. I do believe that good is just good. And
good is
one
just
thing
good.
I hate, and I will say I know hate is a strong word, but I will use it. One thing I hate is people who shit all over climate change initiatives and say it won't work. But I'm not talking about like you, I'm talking about people in government. But they put nothing forward as a solution. There is no option to ignore. climate change. There is no option to ignore global warming.
Yeah,
It is
it's
not
happening. It's
it is not
happening.
an option.
Yeah, it's
but
happening.
they're treating it like it's an option. It's not optional. It's not something you can just opt in or opt out when you feel like, because Mother Nature don't give a shit whether you decide to opt in and opt out. And when we have driven ourselves into extinction because of greed and or need for more or need for whatever it else that, or the resources that we need to drag from the earth that is not sustainable, whether that is to create large areas for cattle, for farming, or dig up different areas for resources, for rare earth minerals, or for oil, and disrupt the ecosystem. All of that has its price. It has its toll. So if we aren't just taking, and never giving back, or even putting a check into how much we take, at how much,
or how we take it.
It's going to catch up with us. Imagine remember, resources on this earth are finite. It's not infinite.
Wind power would be...
Oil, as an example.
Oil, yes. Wind
is
power,
not
and solar and wind,
infinite
though, is
source.
not as finite as oil.
Says who?
Well, the sun is probably going to be shining for a long time.
The earth rotates. And it will continue to rotate, won't it?
Yes, and the sun will continue to shine, and wind will continue to blow. So those things are renewable resources.
Do we still have dinosaurs to get oil from?
Only in movies.
There is a reason why it's called sustainable. It's not called permanent. It's called sustainability.
And we need that. We need sustainable.
Oil is, no matter what people will say, and I'm not saying that oil isn't useful. It is.
And we need it.
And it's not just for jet fuel and other forms of organic material. It's for polymers, for our televisions, for our shoes, for our clothing.
The applications from petroleum, yeah.
It's not just for vehicles. So it still has its usefulness.
Yeah, it's not a bad thing.
It's not a bad thing.
Yeah, in itself.
Remember, I'm a chemist. I'm not coming from a place of this is bad. It's about sustainability. We are approaching it in a way that is highly unsustainable, and it has a deep environmental impact. Which leads to my second portion of what you said about, we are seeing floods like what happened here in Toronto. Yes, we are seeing floods that are flooding out the DVP that we don't have the infrastructure for. But we're also seeing historic new categories of work. For the first time in history, we've developed Category 5 and Category 6. That never existed when I was a
hurricanes
child.
You're talking.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
We are seeing record-breaking
weather,
earthquakes and cyclones that is sweeping not only like my home country,
yes,
but parts of the Eastern Pacific board. We are seeing earthquakes rupturing parts of India and parts of Asia that never had earthquakes at that magnitude before.
Now, that may or may not all be climate change, though, right?
No, but a lot of that is, in fact, due to climate change. Hurricanes are caused by warming airs on cool seas.
Yeah.
And not to mention, we are seeing also the rise of diseases as a result.
Yeah.
A lot of diseases that were eradicated are now coming back.
Or located in hot areas are now moving north.
Are moving further north.
Yeah.
We are seeing malaria as an example, which is a disease that's carried by mosquitoes.
Yeah, in Africa.
Are now traveling all the way up to Iceland. For the first time in human history,
I've never heard that. Malaria in Iceland?
They're seeing mosquitoes in Iceland.
Okay.
Right?
Malaria
And-
carrying mosquitoes? Wow, that's well, mosquitoes
now
aren't mosquitoes, right?
And now with the polar ice caps melting, a lot of diseases again that were trapped in that area for, I'm talking about centuries.
Organisms and stuff like that.
Microorganisms,
Yeah.
biomes, and pathogens are now being carried through our waters, through
Yeah,
our seas.
the melting waters.
In the melting waters,
Yes.
we're seeing breeds of crabs. Google it. We're seeing breeds of crabs completely wiped off the face of the earth, which does affect food production. And you may say, okay, well, I eat steak for dinner. I don't eat crab. But today it's crabs.
I had a delicious crab and avocado entree at the Chase the other night, by the way. There wasn't much of it, and glad I wasn't paying for it.
Well, enjoy it for now.
Remember the picture of the restaurant I sent you?
Yes, you did.
Oh.
Yes. I was like, where is this?
And I'm sorry we're not going there. It was $370 for 2 people. Thank goodness I wasn't paying. But anyway, we digress here. Oh, she's looking at her fingernails.
I guess I'm not worth it, ladies and gentlemen. Sun isn't worth
Well, the bling isn't on there, unfortunately,
sun
right
isn't
now.
worth a nice dinner. But I
Well,
digress.
oh, absolutely, you are. We had a beautiful one at an Italian restaurant. Listen, we could have 2 dinners for the price of the one that I participated in the other night. And I was still hungry, even after friggin' dessert. But anyway, I digress.
No, to stick back on the crab thing, we've seen a shift in the ecosystem. We're seeing
yeah.
birds.
Oh, yeah.
As an example, their population is decreasing significantly because their migrating patterns have changed because they don't know when to migrate because it's warm at a particular time when they usually migrate, and then boom. It gets cold out of nowhere. That happened here, where it went from double digits to single digits in less than 3 days. Last week, in less than 3 days, it went from 10 degrees, 11 degrees, and one day it shot up to 17 degrees, and then 2 days later, it was snowing.
Yeah, okay. That may or may not have been climate change. It may have just been weather in Toronto in the fall. But
No, honey, that is directly a factor of climate change, and we can.
And I like it when it goes to 17 in November. By the way,
we can look into that right now. We can look into that right now. It's a direct correlation to climate change, and because of that, birds' migration patterns.
Oh, they've been screwed up. They don't know what to do.
It's completely screwed up. They're leaving their young ones behind. And then the young ones are hatching, and they have no one to take care of them, and they die of the cold.
Do you know what I've noticed this year? The leaves have hung around a lot longer this fall than last year.
Oh, yeah.
And were it not for the snow, we had some snowfall for those of you who
I've
are listening.
never in my life,
snow in a week
living
ago.
in Toronto, seen so much green and brown with snow on top of it.
Yeah, it was really unusual because the leaves have hung around a lot longer, and we had snow earlier. What's that caused by? Who knows?
Because of the intense heat of the summer that we have had. Now, moving on to intense heat, that has been affecting air quality all summer long.
And its impact on the poor is the worst. That's why Gates and others are thinking climate change is important. We got to think about who's it affecting the most.
I'm not even moving. I haven't even gotten to that. That's a part of my talking point, but I haven't gotten there yet. I'm just addressing the things that you've mentioned in order.
I'm glad you have talking
in reverse
points.
order.
Okay, yes,
right?
Okay. We'll get there.
So we want to talk, but since you brought it up, let's talk about the most vulnerable. Because I don't necessarily, yes, the poor is amongst the most vulnerable, but what about the elderly and the sick and the young?
Well, it's people that can't put themselves in a habitat to protect themselves from, so they don't have air conditioning, they don't have heat. The people in the deserts, apparently 30,000 people every day, 30,000 children every day die in this world. I just learned that stat the other day.
If you want to even speak about children.
Isn't that horrible?
My cousin who has a 2-year-old child that is going to school right now. In Jamaica, they don't allow the kids to go out and play for no more than 2 hours per day because it's too hot.
Oh, yeah, in Jamaica for sure.
The UV index is the highest it has been.
It's been very hot in Jamaica, you're right.
Ages. the UV index is so high they can't allow children to do what children need to do. And we're not even talking about poor. We're just talking about children, period.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think
I believe you. I mean, I talk to
since
people
you've
down
also
there.
brought
so-
up Bill Gates,
Yes.
and then I'll allow you to move on to your next point. Bill Gates is full of shit. Bill Gates is speaking out of two tongues. Bill Gates, in the same statement that you brought up, said that we should be focusing on the poor and disease prevention. But how can we have disease prevention without attention to climate change? One affects the other.
Well, can I summarize what he said and then
That's like saying we need to focus on cancer, but people have been saying dietary control in North America is it's gone off the rails. People are overweight. People are eating poorly. We have a whole bunch of chemicals in our food. But then you change your mind and said we're focusing too much on that. Let's allow capitalism to just put chemicals in our food. Let's just focus on people having cancer. One has a direct correlation to the other. So
you're speaking to the sudden change in Bill Gates' position, I
Yes.
guess. Okay. So let me just for the benefit of everybody, I'm just reading a couple bullets from the summary of what he said. Climate change is serious, but we've made great progress. We need to keep backing the breakthroughs that will help world reach zero emissions. So he wants to get there, but we can't cut funding for health and development programs that help people stay resilient in the face of climate change. It's time to put human welfare at the center of our climate change strategies, which includes reducing the green premium to zero and improving agriculture and health in poor countries. So he's just shifting the focus. He's saying, yeah, climate change is real, but it's how we respond to it. And we need to think about people, especially the most needy and the most vulnerable first. And I think that's a good thing, don't you?
sounds good in theory. As just I'll swing the pendulum because you said, "Oh,
I'm just
zero
reading what you said.
No. I hear. I understand. You said zero emission is great and but it's a pipe dream.
Exactly, it's nirvana. I agree.
And
with you.
then he says we shouldn't focus on that. We should focus on the poor, and that message resonates with you as a conservative. And
Aren't you surprised at that?
And it resonates with you because
It doesn't with Trump.
Because let's call it what it is.
Well,
it's a feel good statement.
Well, yeah, we're human beings. We care for our fellow man and
And
women.
it makes you feel like you're off the hook for maybe what you have done or what little you have done to contribute to climate change. And this is what I say, good is just good.
I agree. Parceling my garbage between regular garbage and recycle is a very minor contribution to sustainability.
Norm, a good man is the type of person who plants trees knowing that it's going to provide shade that he will never sit under.
Ooh, that's an interesting line.
And I, for one, genuinely thought that was Bill Gates, and probably that's still him. He's a smart guy. Unlike Elon Musk, Bill Gates actually built his empire off his own genius. And one thing I will say for someone who for decades, as recently as June this year, I found clips of him speaking about the importance of climate change and the work he's doing in the disease prevention field, because a lot of people don't know Bill Gates has a lot of money being spent.
Oh, he's a philanthropist par excellence.
On disease and disease prevention and as in agriculture as well.
Yeah.
I don't know what claims or subsidies because I'm seeing good men such as Tim Cook cowering and sucking up to Trump. I don't know what was promised, but I find it highly suspicious that as of recently, and I say recent, I'm talking about this summer, he had one tune, and then after the One Big Beautiful bill is passed, his tune has changed. Granted,
Well, his
that
messaging has changed,
subsidies, because out of that bill, not only goes to tax credits to the rich, but also to agricultural programs. And who owns majority of the agricultural farmlands in the United States? Ding, ding, ding. Bill Gates.
Was that right?
That is absolutely right. Again, if anything that I'm saying, listeners, and I encourage you,
I haven't done that research.
Daddy, Google is your friend.
I do know that most of the farms in the United States are family owned. I learned that this week. And they're having a tough time because of the tariff war. But, well, you know, I got to be honest with you. I mean, I talk about it. When I talk about climate change, I really do have to go and look at the research because it's not a topic that I spend a lot of time thinking about. And I don't know why that is. Is it that we're not subject to it, or we're not? Really, it's a problem. We need to do something about it. But what can me as an individual do to help climate change? I don't know. I mean, bingo. Maybe it's time for another drink. What do you think? A refill?
Bill Gates
Oh, we're
is the
looking-
largest private owner of farmland in the United States. He owns about 270,000 acres across 19 states, which is a significant portion of farmland in the United States.
What's he doing on that land, though?
That
it
is a
research?
good question.
I hope he's doing research. I got to believe it's research.
So his land holdings are approximately 270,000 acres. And the purpose of the land is investment and other companies who farm crops, which include potatoes, that provides French fries to McDonald's, carrots, and corn. That's what it says here on Gemini, Google AI system.
Oh. So he's supplying McDonald's. Well, now that
And McDonald's prices for their chips, by the way, ain't getting any cheaper.
by the way, I do like McDonald's fries. They do have very good fries.
They are
I
good.
once in a while stop in, even though there's usually a bloody lineup.
Should you be doing that at your age? Think about the cholesterol.
Oh, please don't mention. Oh God, I have to go to talk to my doctor about my cholesterol next month. Do you know? It's funny you mention that. I look now on every package that I buy stuff. What's the cholesterol on there? Protein, cholesterol.
Really, that's it?
Yeah.
Huh. I usually look at salt. I think that's
Yeah,
my
that's-
biggest.
that's-
That's
yeah.
my biggest pitfall at my age right now, especially with
Or sugar.
work and everything.
Depending on what it
Sugar, not so much because I do drink a lot of water and I do a lot of cardio.
Yeah.
So sugar, in fact, I think you remember I told you last year that when I passed out, the endocrinologist diagnosed me with hypoglycemia, and told me that I should be eating more carbs. Healthy carbs, lean carbs, not lean carbs, lean protein, sorry. Healthy carbs, complex carbs, sorry, that's what the word I was
Like
looking for.
beans and stuff.
Like ground provision, like sweet potatoes and whole grain breads and stuff
whole
like
grains
that.
and
But
beans and yeah.
as you can see, I don't really eat bread and stuff like that.
I love bread. I love whole grain bread.
Yeah, I don't really eat bread. At the most part, I get my carbs from drinking. And that's
drinking
and
what?
that's what
Yeah.
makes my blood pressure go up.
Well, speaking of drinking, don't you need a few more carbs in that glass? Well, maybe not you don't, but I do.
You know what? We'll take a quick break. I'll come back with a read from Mr. Bill Gates. We'll fill up our glasses. I hope you guys at home have followed the recipe and made yourself a nice little French 34 and filled up your glasses. We'll be right back.
We'll have to tell them what goes into a French 34.
Oh, we did.
Oh, did we? Okay.
We did.
Good enough.
And we're back.
We're back.
So, when we had went on our break to refill our glasses, one of the things that I was saying to you is that I believe that there is more to the story than Bill Gates just having a change of mind or a change of heart. I believe that there's more going on behind the scenes than that a lot of us are unaware of.
Could be.
And when you look into the fine print, right? And a lot of the regulations that happened recently, I'm not just talking about the Big Beautiful Bill only. I'm also speaking to the same exact bill, the what they call the continuing
Keep the government going?
to keep the government going.
Yeah. Which they
The
just passed.
CR.
Okay.
The CR.
Continuing resolution.
The continuing resolution.
Yes, thank you. Okay.
All the major points in which were being addressed, right? Especially by the conservatives, by the Republicans, whether that is deregulation for premiums, healthcare premiums, or that is giving more money to defense and more money to agriculture, because again, those are their biggest
More money
bases.
to billionaires is what that was all about.
It is directly an impact both as a private citizen for Bill Gates and to his multiple corporations. When we talk about the deregulation of AI that came out of the Big Beautiful Bill, that also directly not only, a lot of people were focusing on how that gives a lot of benefit to a lot of projects that Elon Musk is working on, especially putting stuff like the aerospace race, that new frontier, taking it out of the hands of NASA by defunding NASA.
He's been out of the picture lately, hasn't he?
That's a choice. That's because he has his hands busy trying to justify his $1 trillion per annum new,
Isn't that ridiculous?
new
What a
signing
salary.
bonus.
My goodness.
But I digress.
What do you
All
do with
people
the
had their eyes on him, putting the leaning, and this is why I
Would you say
that
that Elon Musk is doing his
he's
part for
physically
climate
a
change?
smart guy, because now when he
built the
takes
Teslas.
Doge and he cuts funding for NASA,
Oh.
the government is still going to have a need.
He was just doing
for-
Trump's dirty work.
They're still going to have a need for
Of course.
the weather services and for
Of course.
the planetary services, and all of that will now go to private. And who is the largest private owner of rockets and
Satellites.
aerospace system and satellites in the
But
world?
Comrade Musk.
Elon Musk.
And Comrade, I'm Comrade Putin. I'd like to talk to Mr. Musk,
A
please.
lot of people had their eyes on that, but a lot of people were missing were the other billionaires in the background. I'm talking about the old billionaires, the ones that are smart, the ones that move quietly, like a Bill Gates, who are also getting kickbacks and benefits from these bills as well.
But he's passing that on to good causes.
Well,
He is the
I
leading
have
philanthropist
to-
in the world
I have to believe
in defense of him.
I'm trying to believe that he is, and I want to believe that he is, but we will not know until 20, 30 years down the line. When I'm your age is when the truth will come out. I believe.
Well, in that case, I won't be around to see that truth.
And that's why I go back to saying a good man is a man that plants trees for shade that he will never sit under.
That's very profound. And you know what? That's what our lives are about. We do good things, and we don't often see the results of those good things. When we help somebody, when we provide food for somebody, when we donate to a cause, a lot of what Bill Gates is doing, he's never going to see the full benefits of it. It'll be in a couple of generations, hopefully.
But how do you ensure that you're leaving a legacy that will live on after you've passed?
You do good stuff. And you know what? You can't know what the results are going to be, but you know that you're doing good things. You're setting in motion processes. You're training people. You're providing new techniques in countries. You're seeding new types of plants and vegetation and agriculture and food. And you hope that it brings good things for the next generation.
Well, one can hope. All I have to say
That's
is
true. We can hope. And we don't know for sure, right? I mean,
all I have to say is I will need to see much deeper mandates coming out of Bill Gates' camp. I want to see
And the foundation, because the foundation's going to survive him. He's an older guy like me, so actually a little bit older. He's not going to be around forever. But the work of his foundation will go on for a long time.
I want to see how they are planning to expound on mRNA vaccines from now. Like, I want to see how they're going to put that research into the eradication of HIV as an example, or to the eradication of malaria as an example.
Exactly.
So these are things that are
good
that
projects.
I think that are good projects that he's
Yeah.
been going on a hobo tour talking about all year.
And getting solar power and wind power farms going that will help farmers in other countries grow food
And
that will feed the people. That's all good stuff,
And
right?
if he genuinely does not believe that climate change is not doomsday that it is once going to be, and
he believes it's manageable, though. I think he thinks that, look, it's here. It's going to have an impact, but we got to address the needs of the people that are suffering as a result of climate change first.
Tell that to the people in Jamaica, including my cousins who don't have a roof over their head to sleep tonight.
You know what? It's funny you mention that. I had an email from a friend I know in Jamaica. His sister lost her house. He's raising money to buy zinc for a roof.
Yeah.
So if you got $100, I can tell you where to send it.
It is devastating. Absolute devastating.
Can you imagine losing a roof over your head? Can you
just
imagine if this roof here?
Oh, I know.
Suddenly, I mean, what a horrible
It makes
thing.
you, and I've said this before, it's just a simple luck of the draw that I don't live there anymore and I live here.
Or it's a simple luck of the draw that somebody down the road, their house was fine and their neighbors got torn apart. That happens everywhere in a storm.
It is. A lot of people don't think about the things that are happening. And I can understand something, and while I'm not excusing it, but I can understand something like war or something like civil unrest, because, again, that is largely human created and
human generated.
human generated.
Yeah.
And not to say that climate change isn't human generated. Actually, I wouldn't even say it's human generated. I would say it's human exasperated.
Exaggerate.
It's
we've multiplied on it. Yeah,
because of human behavior.
Yeah, we've made it worse. Right.
Climate change is always something that happens.
Exactly.
So let us start
it's like
there.
that. Yeah, it's happening, but human intervention, human practices, human carelessness makes the bad things even worse.
We've gone through 7 ice ages already. So this is not something that is.
And we're leaving an ice age.
And
I heard that. I heard it.
In technicality, yes.
Yeah, I heard a geography say that
technicality, yes.
50 years ago.
But
we're still leaving it.
We are moving things in a rapid direction.
Yep.
That is beyond its normal fold over process.
Let me tell you something funny. When I was a kid, maybe 14, 15, remember my dad was having a discussion with his neighbor who was a geography teacher. And I remember my dad saying, so are we leaving an ice age or going towards one? And the geography teacher said, no, we're leaving an ice age. But you know what? The thought of climate change there wasn't such a word then. This is in the late 60s, okay? So I'm dating myself. Clearly, we're still leaving that ice age, but the climate change is exaggerating, making that move faster. I read an article today about what's going on in Nepal, where the ice cap in the Himalayas is starting to melt. And it's slowly melting, and the rocks are coming down, and sometimes they're causing mudslides and rock slides into little lakes. And not only is the water creating the lakes, getting the lakes bigger, but the rocks are causing the lakes to suddenly splash, spill over, and they're flooding little towns in the way. Who would have thought that was possible 40 years ago?
But that's what I'm saying. I think a lot of the reason why a lot of us here in North America or even in Europe, part of the reason why we don't give it as much as
we're oblivious to it.
We don't give it as much attention to it. It's because of how well positioned we are,
how protected we are
in the Antarctic layer, in the Antarctic zone of the planet.
But that could be. Okay, from a climate point of view.
From a climate point of view.
Yeah.
But that will change.
Well, as it warms up even more.
That will change.
Will mosquitoes in Iceland? Were we on tape when we talked about that?
Oh yeah, we
mean-
were, and that will eventually change.
And
Now,
water levels
it may
will
not
increase?
be 3 years, 4 years, 5 years from now. But like you said, who would have thought 40 years ago that would happen? Who would have thought?
You're going to Halifax next weekend. Guess what?
Yes,
In
I am.
100 years, Halifax night might not be underwater. It might be
that
underwater.
may be completely underwater.
Exactly.
It once was.
Oh,
It
really?
once was. A lot of people don't know that.
Oh.
But Nova Scotia
I'm glad you didn't try to go there.
was completely in the
Sorry, son, I couldn't resist that.
That's in the Croatian and the Jurassic period, and it's ironic because if you go to the Royal Ontario Museum or the
AGO? No, not the AGO.
ROM
The ROM, yeah.
or the Paleontology the Royal Tyrrell in Alberta,
Oh,
they will they have a lot of illustrations and where they have the Triceratops, the bones, which were native to the area because it was all either underwater or swampland. All of Nova Scotia was sea. It was completely sea.
wow.
That's part of the reason why that area that runs through Northern Ontario down to that side is called the Canada Shields.
Canadian Shield, yeah.
The Canadian Shields, all of that is seabed. When you're driving through and you're seeing those rock faces,
Yeah.
all of that was once previously seabed. And you may think, oh, that was such a long time ago. It really wasn't.
Well, not in relative terms, but
Not in
it was certainly-
relative terms,
certainly
correct.
it would have been a lot of anniversaries ago, you might say.
But one has to ask
lot of Christmases
ourselves,
ago.
how long do we expect the race of human beings to exist on the planet?
Well, God has a time in mind for that. But in the meantime, what's going to happen is climate change and ocean levels. That to me is, they're rising.
Well, you know what?
Miami Beach. Can you imagine Miami Beach being underwater?
well,
Forget
I'm-
Halifax. Miami Beach. What are we going to do?
I think I'm more concerned about the health portion of
Okay.
climate change more than anything else. I'm more concerned about the air quality change, the UV index, the rise in diseases.
The impact on human health, and that is why Gates is saying we need to focus on that.
And I
totally
don't
agree
want
with you.
another pandemic, if I'm being honest.
Oh,
I'm not
God.
ready.
Oh no.
I'm not ready.
You know, it's funny. I forgot about things we did in the pandemic. I remember how hard it was walking around downtown Toronto in 2021 to find a place to have a leak. Everything was closed, for crying out loud. You had to go to Queen's Park and find a tree.
Oh, this is the most conservative Canadian thing I've ever heard. I couldn't find somewhere to use a toilet. I
know,
had to go to a tree.
I remember walking around and hearing somebody say that downtown. They're saying, where the hell do you go to have a leak around here? Everything, you guys, it's hard to remember that everything was closed.
It feels
weird.
but that's how.
It was horrible.
What did you say to me last week? A man who stays in the news is a man who knows nothing.
Well, a man in the news is a man without a memory. That's
man
Jacques
without a
Ellul.
memory.
Jacques
Exactly.
Ellul in a book called The Political Illusion.
That is where we are right now. I think a lot of people have forgotten, and it's ironic because the same interview that I watched Bill Gates speak about back in this summer, where he's talking about his different philanthropy stuff and the ringing the alarm on climate change, he also brought up the fact that his foundation is doing research on when the next pandemic will be and what it will be so that they can have a vaccine ready to prevent it.
Well, that's good stuff.
And so
That's
I
good to
remember
hear.
one of the co-hosts asked him, so when do you think will be the next pandemic? And he said he believes it will happen within the next 30 years.
Well, that
That
doesn't
means it
worry
will
me.
definitely happen within my lifetime.
Yeah.
And he also thinks that this pandemic was just a test run.
Well, let's put it this way.
And we did not handle it very well.
Well, you know what? And what do you mean by that? We didn't.
I don't think we handled this pandemic very well. I don't think a lot of lessons were learned. And I'm not just
Are you
talking
talking
about
Ontario?
I'm
the
talking
world,
about
Canada?
worldwide. I don't.
Oh.
Let us just look locally.
I like the Florida model.
Not a Florida.
I mean, I think we were too restrictive in Ontario.
I think
that's what we're speaking from.
Let us just think from a social perspective. Fine. Let's since you're talking about, you think we were too restrictive. From a social perspective, we couldn't even decide whether we should be social distancing, how we should be social distancing, how we should keep the economy, how we're going to keep the economy
all that
running.
Anyway. You're right. We didn't know what to do. It's the truth.
But people were still dying.
Yes.
People were still dying.
It was horrible.
Socially, we couldn't even come to a decision. As a people.
Remember the reports on the news? They were talking about the number of cases, the number of deaths, the number of people that had been infected. We didn't know if they were going to live or die. Do you remember those stats at the new
absolutely.
news? It was horrible.
And now
I don't want to go back there.
And then think about the aftermath.
Well, the
trucker convoy.
Well, the economic
January 6th.
The economic impact of COVID is still being felt, and to some extent.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
So so we're going to have another pandemic.
And the health impact. People are still feeling it, having long COVID. They're still feeling it. So when I say that we're not ready, and I don't think we have absorbed the lessons learned, because
could be
much like you said, you've almost forgotten how bad it was. You almost
it's
forgotten.
Funny you mention that. I was standing on the subway the other day, coming downtown, and thinking, wow, I don't have a mask on. All these people around here, I don't know whether some of them have a cold or not. I better be careful. I don't want to. I make sure I stand.
Oh, yeah.
I don't get too close to people. I do not sit on those seats.
By the way, did you see that the cold and flu, Health Canada said the cold and flu this year is going to be worse than last year?
And that the flu vaccine that they're giving isn't necessarily the right strain for it. I've had my flu shot already.
Yeah.
I've had a bad cold already, too, before the flu shot. We'll know in 3 months whether it did any good or not.
Well, you know what? I got mine immediately as I got back from Malta. And ironically, I got the cold the week of my birthday. And it only took, even with cancer, it only took me 3 days to get better.
Oh, you're amazing.
So
I was a week and a half with a cold.
And you know I'm on injectable chemo, so my immune system is being suppressed. So I think that
which is ironic because you look so healthy.
Thank you.
Absolutely stunning body, so great shape, good fit agenda, and God bless you for that.
Thank you. Shout out to my fitness coach, my fitness trainer, good at body. But yeah, I think that
she looks good, girl. She looks good.
I think that a lot of us have not really learned our lessons as a society, and when it does happen again, I think it's going to be worse. It's going to be so much worse, especially having a whole generation of kids in those 3 to 5 years who went through school, went through high school, and never interacted with a single person outside of a television or an iPad or laptop screen.
Well,
those are the same kids that are going to have to make decisions
about policy, about change, about regulations. They're kids now, and they were kids during COVID, and they will be in decision making in the next COVID.
In the next couple of decades or less.
In a way, that's good because they will have had some experience with how it was dealt with 3-4 years ago.
Yes and no. I think
no.
I think there's a huge developmental problem that came out of COVID for a lot of kids.
i.e. not developing their minds and decision-making and learning and stuff?
Yes, I think it's formed that. I think COVID has formed arrested development in a lot of the teenagers, especially a lot of the Gen Zs.
There's a good topic for arrested development. By the way, wasn't there a song group called Arrested Development a long time ago?
I
believe it was.
You're asking the wrong person.
Well, let me just get my iPad here. I do have my iPad with me.
I've never...
Oh, goodness, an Economist article showed up.
By the way, I must say, I commend you for bringing your I've been telling you for months.
I came well prepared tonight, folks.
You need to bring your iPad, bring your source of truth.
I did more fucking homework for this podcast than I did for a university exam 50 years ago.
I've been telling you for months.
Sun
I'm
puts
so
pressure
proud
on
of
me.
you.
Sun puts pressure on me to come ready for a production, guys. I just want you to know. Even though it's on a topic I don't really care about that much.
I'm proud of you, and
Thank you.
and I'm proud of you for also addressing because while
Finish that thought.
addressing something that a lot of people your age bracket forget what their political leanings are. A lot of people your age bracket just do not see climate change as
No,
an issue,
it is
and a
an
lot
issue.
of that is because it will not be a direct impact to your generation, and that is understandable.
Well, you know what? That's dumb because I'm a citizen of Canada. We're a citizen of the world. We are responsible. We are, what's the word? I can't think of it right now. We're responsible for our creation. Mm-hmm. The word is this, and like this is a senior moment. The word has totally escaped me, but I'm here. I still have a role to play.
I think it's about the legacy that you're going to leave behind. A lot of people think about legacy as, how much money they're leaving behind in a trust for their kids or
I'm
their
hoping to
grandkids.
spend it all before I leave.
And my thing is legacy for everyone should look like, what impact, whether big or small, are you doing to leave behind for the younger generation to benefit from? And that could be something as simple as instituting a renewable program.
Everybody
something
has
as
a role to
simple
play.
as making sure that you are stimulating the economy in renewable energy, in the forms of renewable energy, such as buying a green vehicle or buying solar panels, to show that
Like
there's
you do.
like I do,
Yeah.
to show that there's an interest in this market. So we need to do more investment, so we can get the ruling class to do more investments in sustainability and renewables. We need
The ruling class.
the boomers, the ruling class.
Well, the ruling class, aren't they in Russia?
Are we?
Comrade, the ruling
not
class are in Russia.
You seem to just
Don't
love
you think
Russia,
so?
don't you?
Well, ruling class are elites. And you
Yes,
know what?
but-
Elites are the most pro-climate change gurus in the society.
Is that right?
Yeah.
You know why I call the boomers the ruling class?
It's not all the boomers. Some of them are boomers.
Because boomers is the
They're-
only generation alive today that disproportionately has benefited
Yeah.
from
I agree with you.
policies that have been put in place, both economically
Yeah.
and socially.
They are the most affluent generation of alive and may well be for a long time.
Period.
We have
And that's why I call them the ruling class.
and I'm not even a real winner in the boomer generation. You know from my history, there's some of the things that have happened to me in the last 15 years.
You may not be a real winner, but you're still winning, Norm.
Well, I'm comfortable.
You're still winning.
I'm much
Thank
better
the
than a
Lord,
lot of people.
because you know what?
And I know it's
He
hard for
brought
a lot
you
of people.
down so he could bring you back up.
Well, God is good.
What the song says? We fall down, but we get up. No? All right.
I like that. It's good. It rhymes.
Anyhow,
Well,
as we close up today's episode, is there anything that you'd like to say to the people?
folks, be aware.
Be aware.
Be aware of what's going on around you. Stay tuned to things. Pay attention. And when you can make a contribution to do some good for somebody or something, maybe send a check to somebody in Jamaica that's missing a roof, or make a contribution per month to some kid that needs food or they want to go to school in some country where education costs money. Do some good.
All right. And buy your son more booze.
Well, that's a given, honey.
You know what? From me, the seasons are changing. It's changing fast.
Yes, so fast.
I want everybody to just wear a mask if you can. and it doesn't bother you.
When you're in a crowd.
When you're in a crowd,
Yeah,
specifically.
especially on the subway, when you're in a mall. That's a good idea. That's a
Yeah.
really good idea.
Eat
Especially
your
right
vegetables
now. Yep.
and put some Vicks on that chest. Yeah. Put some Vicks on that chest.
Put it in your nose too.
Because
You breathe through your nose, not your chest.
the flu is going around and it ain't pretty.
And if you need any Vaseline in your butt, don't use menthol flavor though.
And you know exactly where that is talking about. You know exactly where. Ladies and gentlemen, twinks, twunks, bears, and others, thank you for listening to today's episode. If you made it all the way to the end, follow us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and subscribe to our YouTube channel at Daddy and Son Podcast. Remember, we're available over at iHeartRadio, so go download the iHeartRadio app and support the show. And if you have any questions for the show, send them over to daddyandsonpodcast@gmail.com. That's DADDYANDSON podcast@gmail.com. Until next time, sons, be good to your daddies.
And daddies, be kind to your sons, but don't send them money every time they ask for it.
Jeez, I won't even ask. I won't ask.